So we have today's class. I'm just going to repeat this. We have today's class to finish those assigned workbook questions. Tomorrow's class, Friday's class, I'm giving you a review booklet that's going to be like the leveled 1 to 8 types of questions. So you're going to have Friday's class to work on that, as well as next week's Tuesday's class. The following week, your test is Tuesday. So we have 3 classes, including today's, to prepare for our test. We have no new information to be taught. You know everything. What we finished yesterday, so when A isn't equal to 1 using either decomp or number sense, we were working on that yesterday and you had some time to practice it. That stuff's really hard. We're going to chat a little bit more just in general terms to give you a little bit more structure, and then most of today is going to be a study period. Review booklet coming Friday. It'll be like a hard copy one, and I'll post a solution key for it as well. With that in mind, do we have any questions? Fabulous. Are we all actually on page 372?
Are you?
Good question. Put your phone away. Okay. So as well, grade 10s, this is going to be a calculator free test. I will be far too generous and give you times tables, but that's all. It's the same thing. It's the same table. You just use it in a different direction. Like it's
like a block.
I have this multiplication table you will be getting. I'm not giving you numbers greater than 12. Or if I do, it's going to be like divided by 2 to be like 50 or whatever, okay? Because, good question. Okay, so Brady just asked a really good question. Why won't I let you use a calculator? You can use a calculator for our next unit, you get one, but we're not letting you use one right now because you need to work on your number sense. Generally speaking, our grade 10s have fairly weak multiplication tables. I give you your calculator, that enables it. Take it away, we're forcing you to strengthen them. That's why. Garrett. Gavin. Sorry. Yeah. If you print it out, you sure can. I've laminated and printed out the other ones already. You can use whatever one you want. If you print it out, sure. Mine, no. Okay, so grade 10s. The very first thing you do when you factor, ladies and gentlemen, this is for your benefit, not mine. I can factor really well. First thing you do when you are factoring is your GCF. This is that little flow chart on the top of the page. Always you do is GCF. That should be super ingrained into every single one of you. If there's 2 terms, what do you do?
Look for a difference in squares.
Good. So 2 terms, I would write the number 2 really big. Difference is squares, so it has to be separated by subtraction. Every single time you have 2 terms that you're factoring, you need to think that. If there's 3 terms, you can do it by inspection, or what I say is the numbers, you're using your number sense, or you can use decomp. If there's 4 terms, what do you do? Good. This table, like this flow chart, I guess, is more so a better description, should be memorized into your heads. This is what's going to make it a little bit easier to help guide you when you're faced with the problem right off the bat. The one I put like in your notes packet is a little bit more detailed than this one, but they're equivalent. After you do the initial factoring, you always should see if there's more factoring to do. Likely, if there is more, it's going to be a difference of squares. Do you have a question, Camden? No, just throwing your arms in the air. Okay. Okay, I want to do a couple from here, and then I'm going to let you go kind of on your own. So for example, First question here, 9A. Is there a GCF? Just kidding. 1A. It's number 9.
There is.
9x squared.
The number of the question.
9. So very first thing, we factor out 9. So when you rewrite it, we get x squared minus 4. Now I have two terms. Our first thought is difference of squares. Is this a difference of squares? Good. So then I get x minus 2, x plus 2. Grade 10s, you must rewrite it with the 9. The 9 should be first. The order between these two does not matter.
I was just saying, I'm a bit confused about the terminology for difference of squares. So it's basically just when there's still like when the x in the first bit of is still a square, so you still need to take that out.
Yeah, so it has to be subtraction, first off. Difference is a math word for subtraction, so that's where it comes from. Squares is both terms have to be perfect squares. That's where like the name comes from. Basically, it's just a like what we call that type of binomial. And then you would have had to factor out a 3 from the first term and a 3 from the second term. Those 3's combined to make your 9. So you could have, but likely doing it that way, you would have stopped and not thought to factor out your 3. And then you're not done it. But yes, you can totally do it that way. It's just not as kind of leading, right? By taking out the 9 first, you've made sure you've done that. You're just more likely to forget it. Okay, this next one, I need two numbers that multiply to 36 and add to 16. Before you tell me that answer though, what do we know about our signs? Like, are they both positive, or are they positive, negative, that sort of thing? What do we know about the signs? Tim?
It's 2 negatives, so one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative.
Oh, sorry, say that again.
One's going to be positive.
Yes.
And one's going to be negative.
Sorry, there's 2 negatives. I see what you're saying initially. So because this is a negative here, I know I have to have 1 minus sign and 1 plus sign. That's the only way I can get a negative overall. So again, fill in the restrictions before you continue with the rest. Okay, so now I need two numbers that multiply to 36 and add 16. 18 and 2. Good. Which one's positive? Good. That's a hard one. I know personally in my mind, like when I go through 36, I would do like 1 and 36, 4 and 9, and then 3 and 12 probably. 18 and 2 would take me a while to get to. Why? I don't know. That's just how my mind works. And that's why this unit can be really easy at times and really tricky. 18 and 2 is one my mind kind of skipped over.
Will there be any non-factorable ones
Yep.
on the test?
Yeah. Likely 1.
So you're just going to
Likely 1. Pardon? No. Okay, let's think about this. You writing non-factorable is really easy, really, as well as isn't super informative to me. Okay, C. What I really like about C is 1, is there a greatest common factor? Are we sure about this?
Probably is.
Yeah.
Good. No, there is not. 2 doesn't go into everything. 4 doesn't go into everything. 8 doesn't go into everything. But our first term is a negative. When your first term is a negative, factor out -1. So basically change all of your signs. So we get x squared minus 8x squared minus 26x minus 15. Doing it that way is going to make your math easier. Do you have to do it this way? No, but it's so much harder keeping your first terms, like in your binomials. Keeping one of them negative just makes it a lot trickier. So from here, as well, going forward in math in grade 11 and 12 math, there's more reasoning why it's more helpful to have the negative separate. So it's a good habit to be in as well. So from here, I know with my brackets, I'm going to have something x, like this. I also know one is going to be positive and one is going to be negative. That's it for restrictions though. Because 8 has multiple factors and 15 has multiple factors. So there's a lot more thinking to do on this one. We have to get all the way up to 26. That's pretty high. So keeping that in mind, you need to play with it and see what factors you have. I want you guys to try this one on your own. So if you want to do it by number sense, go right ahead. If you want to go through it with decomp, go right ahead. But I want you to try and finish this one on your own. This is a harder one. So one like this is pretty hard. I'm just curious, how many of you are trying decomp? Raise your hand. Okay, cool. And the rest of you are trying number sense then, I assume? Okay, cool. I just want to go through decomposition just because it is a little bit wonky. So I have 8 times 15 gives me 120. So I need to have 2 numbers that multiply to negative 120 because it was a negative 15 and a positive 8, and then add to a negative 26. So make sure when you're doing it, we're referencing back to using these numbers here. That's the other catch. So what are 2 numbers that multiply to negative 20 but add to negative 26?
4 and 3.
Good. Which one's positive and which one's negative? So negative 30 times 4 gives me that negative 120. Negative 30 plus 4 gives me a negative, negative 26. So remember with decomposition, we keep that negative out front. And then I would rewrite this as 8x plus 4x minus 30x plus 15. So then from here, it's that factoring by grouping. If you don't like decomp, you don't have to follow this piece along. First piece, I'm going to factor out 2x. I'm going to factor out 4x. So then I'm left with 2x plus 1. My second 2, I'm going to factor out a minus 2. Just kidding. Minus 15. And then I'm left with 2x minus 1. Right? Took out a minus 15. That was a plus 15. I wrote plus 15. There we go. My apologies. This should have been minus 15 here. So then this is plus 1. So now I can see that my factors are going to be 4x minus 15 and 2x plus 1. Go ahead.
I got 26.
20 and 6. Which one's negative and which one's positive? That isn't right though, because one of them we had to get a negative 120. So you treated it as positive 26 plus 15 then. Otherwise, that would work. That's the only catch. This one's tricky to me with that 15, kind of is harder to use and work through it. Using your number sense, 4 and 2 is where I went as well, making sure it's not 4 times 15, because that gives us 60. That's way too high as well. There are just different ways to go through these. Do you guys want to try more together, or you guys want to work on your own? On your own? Okay. So I will come around and help you one by one as you guys are needing the extra help. But so you have those questions on page 359 and page 368 in your notes packet I gave you, as well as there's that very last page that just has some extra practice. With this unit, what's really important is that you guys are recognizing is you just have to do lots. The more you do, the faster you're going to get, the easier it's going to be. So hopefully by the end of today's class, you're really close, if not done, all of those workbook questions. Then tomorrow's class, you could just start working on that review. This page in here is just extra practice too. I just wanted to give you a little bit more. Go ahead, Andy.